Bears are powerful and formidable creatures, capable of frightening just with their appearance. And when they get into action, nothing good can come of it. These predators attack hunters, chase cyclists, attack locals, and they can get to a person even on a mountain and a tree. In this episode, I'll show you bear moments that are better not to watch alone. Let's go. Hunter. Although bears are predators, they're not as aggressive as many people think. Sometimes bears will not even pay attention to a human near them, but sometimes it happens and more. The hunter in this video experienced this when he encountered a black bear. It's a large, strong bear that you can't fight back with a bow and arrow. But the hunter had only them. This bear must have sensed the hunter's weakness and attacked him, knocking him down. This seemed to be the last seconds of the hunter's life, but by some miracle, all was over. The bear ran away, and the man only had a couple of bruises. This hunter was better prepared. He's holding a double-barreled rifle. The hunter may need because the bear's already very close. The bear runs out of the bushes and runs to the hunter, but jumps into the bushes again. The bear makes a second attempt, but doesn't dare to attack again. Here comes the third attempt, but it's also unsuccessful. The hunter cautiously backed up and kept his eye on the bear. Fortunately, everyone survived. The bear never attacked the hunter, and the hunter didn't have to use his weapon, but it was all very tense. Cyclist. A cyclist set up a camera in the woods to film a couple of tricks on his mountain bike. He jumps off the little hillock and succeeds. He rides off behind the camera, but soon returns back, looking back at, who would you think? A bear, of course. The bear appeared as if from nowhere. The cyclist started screaming and trying to defend himself with his bike, but luckily for him, the bear was more interested in the camera. It probably wanted to see if the video of the jump had been recorded properly. Animal trainer. Attacks or attempted attacks by wild bears on humans are not surprising. After all, these predators need to survive and protect their young. However, attacks by trained bears are far more surprising. Rocky, a trained bear, had lived among humans for 5 years, and no one has ever seen him show any aggression. It's not surprising that the animal trainers feel calm in this footage. But all of a sudden, it was as if Rocky went crazy. He attacked the trainer named Steven and bit his neck. The other trainers immediately began to drive the predator away, but he wouldn't let go of Steven for a few more seconds. Eventually, they managed to repel the enraged Rocky from Steven, and the trainer even got up on his own. But probably he did it from shock. He was seriously injured, and unfortunately died soon after. Mother's attack. In the next video, it was no less sudden. Workers from Sakhalin, Russia were happily filming bear cubs that had come out of the woods to them. The cubs posed no threat, and there were no signs of trouble, but where there are cubs, there's always a mother. It came out of the ravine, and that meant the beginning of the end. The bear quickly assessed the situation, determined its target, and sprinted toward the workers. The video stops abruptly at this point. Unfortunately, such an attack by an angry bear did not pass without a trace. One of the workers died on the spot, and others were injured. In fact, the workers could have been saved. For example, they could get away from the cubs before the bear would see them, or they could have used a special repellent spray like the author of this video. In the woods, he came across a bear that clearly didn't want to let him go in peace. The bear went at the man, and the man began to back away. The bear chased the man for a few minutes. He was climbing trees, speeding up, or stopping. At some point, the predator came too close, and the man used a spray. The effect was immediate. The bear ran away. By the way, did you check out that bear's tree climbing skills? This is one of the most important bear skills that not many people know about. Bears, though big and chubby, are great at climbing trees, so hiding from them there is not an option. The protagonist of the next video didn't seem to know that. He climbed a tree, but the bear came after him. The man tries to fight back, but he's not very good at it. At the same time, the bear itself climbs higher and higher. But fortunately, the poor guy eventually managed to chase the bear away, and it ran away somewhere. And this bear was even closer. It climbed a tree to the hunter, who had set up something like a viewing platform at the height of the tree. The bear made its way to the platform, making everyone nervous. It seemed that it could have torn the hunter right on the spot. But apparently, the bear was just curious. After assessing the situation, it went down. Mountain. Bears can climb not only trees but also mountains. It became known about the climbing abilities of bears not so long ago. In October 2022, a climber from Japan had the most terrifying experience of his life when he was confronted by an angry bear while climbing a mountain. The predator suddenly jumped down on top of him. The climber defended himself by shouting and punching the bear, but that didn't seem to help. It seemed that soon either the bear would get the climber or the man himself would fall off the cliff. Fortunately, neither happened, and after a while, the bear ran away. Attacks by brown bears on humans are much more common than attacks by polar bears. After all, polar bears live in places where there are few or no humans. However, such attacks also occur. Here's one of them. A polar bear made its way into the village and found itself between the houses. At the same time, there was a woman who went out into the yard and didn't see the beast. The bear went berserk, attacked the woman, pawed her, and bit her. It seemed that all the locals were about to see the brutal massacre of their neighbor, but one of them didn't stand idly by and threw a bottle at the bear. Surprisingly, it worked. The polar bear got scared and left the woman alone. The woman was extremely lucky and only had some minor injuries. Polar bears can be found in many northern locations. For example, in Alaska, in Katmai National Park and Preserve. However, it's much more common to encounter local grizzly bears there. It happened to the authors of this video. A grizzly bear was only a few meters from them. They stepped back into the thicket and the bear approached. It passed at a distance of only a couple of meters from the people and only by some miracle did not attack them. It just ran past them, giving the people a huge dose of shock and adrenaline. By the way, Katmai National Park and Preserve is world famous for its grizzly bears. Among them, there are real record breakers. For example, the world's fattest bear, named 747, lives here. The brown bear weighs 1,400 pounds. For comparison, an average grizzly bear weighs about 550 to 660 pounds. I suggest we take a look at other record-breaking and just unusual bears too. Stay tuned to see the biggest bear, the deadliest bear on the planet, and the bear with the highest running speed. Let's start with the biggest bears. Everyone knows that these are polar bears. They grow up to 6.5 to 10 feet in length and weigh about 1,100 pounds. There have also been polar bears weighing about a ton, but Kodiak bears are not much smaller than polar bears. They're a subspecies of the brown bear. Some Kodiak bears even surpass polar bears. The heaviest Kodiak bears weigh over half a ton, and the biggest Kodiak bear weighed 1,720 pounds. However, these parameters correspond to the bears that are preparing for hibernation. Once they come out of hibernation, they lose up to a third of their body weight. Sun bear. And this is the exact opposite of both polar bears and Kodiak bears. The sun bear is the smallest member of the bear family. It's about 10 times smaller than the polar giants. It doesn't exceed 5 feet in length and weighs about 66 to 132 pounds. At the same time, it's one of the rarest bears, which is listed in the Red Data Book. Although the sun bear is a real tiny thing, it's very aggressive. These predators are very unpredictable and uncontrollable. They often attack animals and even people for no reason or at the slightest feeling of danger. In the heat of rage, this little guy can even defend itself from a tiger. Sloth bear. That's what this bear is capable of too. The Indian sloth bear is one of the most ridiculous bears on the planet. At the very least, it has a strange appearance resembling that of a sloth, hence the name of the animal. But don't be fooled by its appearance. The sloth bear is a real menace of the bear world. If the sun bear can only defend itself from a tiger, the sloth bear is capable of destroying the big cat. These creatures are considered some of the most aggressive bears in the world. It's also they, not brown bears, that are considered the deadliest for humans. Over the past 20 years, hundreds of Indian residents have died and thousands more have been injured as a result of attacks by sloth bears. Grizzly bear. And finally, the well-known grizzly bear. Undoubtedly, it is aggressive and powerful like the sloth bear and can kill any human in the heat of anger. But it's not its power that distinguishes it from other bears, but its speed. It's this subspecies of the brown bear that's called the fastest. This is the fastest of the 8 species of bears, which accelerates up to 35 miles per hour. However, the grizzly bear can achieve such a result only at the peak of its athleticism. when much time has passed after hibernation and it's gained strength, and when it runs on a soft and flat surface that its long claws can dig into. But even in other conditions, the grizzly bear runs very fast, so running away from such an enraged predator is almost pointless. That's all, guys. Which bears do you like more, brown bears or polar bears? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and see you later.